The notification came through at 11:43 p.m. While I was doing a final face mask and trying to calm my nerves about meeting James's parents the next day. My phone buzzed with an alert I'd never seen before. New login detected. Dating app IP address, 192, 168, 1, 15-inch. That IP address made my blood run cold. It was from inside our house. I bolted upright, cucumber slices falling from my eyes, and grabbed my laptop. 2 months ago, after noticing some strange activity on my social media, I'd installed comprehensive security monitoring on all my accounts. Call it paranoia or call it intuition, but something had told me to protect myself. The security dashboard showed everything. Someone had logged into my dating profile from my stepsister Chloe's laptop at 11:31 p.m. They'd been active for 12 minutes, but doing what? I logged into the dating app from my phone, my hands shaking. At first, everything looked normal. Then I checked my sent messages. My profile had sent 18 messages in those 12 minutes, all to different members of the Morrison family, James's parents, his sister, his brother, even his elderly grandmother who'd recently joined social media to stay connected with the grandkids. The messages were horrific. To his mother, can't wait to meet you tomorrow. Hope you're ready for your precious son to see what a real woman can do. I've already got him wrapped around my finger. The family fortune won't know what hit it. To his father, James tells me you're a pastor. How does it feel knowing your son is dating someone who's been with half of Seattle? Don't worry, I'll pretend to be a good girl at dinner. To his sister, looking forward to replacing you as the family favorite. James already likes me better than you anyway. To his grandmother, hey grandma, ready to hand over the family heirlooms? I've got my eye on that diamond necklace James showed me pics of. Each message was crafted to hit specific triggers: gold digging, promiscuity, manipulation, disrespect. Whoever wrote these knew exactly what would horrify a conservative, tight-knit family. But the worst part was the photos. My profile had sent intimate photos, not nude, but suggestive selfies I'd never taken. I zoomed in and realized with growing fury that they were my face photoshopped onto other bodies. Sophisticated work, but not perfect if you looked closely. I knew exactly who'd done this. The same person who'd been making snide comments about James since we'd started dating 6 months ago. The same person who'd accidentally mentioned at dinner last week that she'd had a crush on James since high school. The same person whose laptop IP address was now burned into my brain. Chloe. I crept down the hallway to her room, where I could hear her on the phone through the door. Her voice was animated, excited. It's done, Megan. I sent everything. His whole family got messages. Once they see what a psycho she is, he'll dump her before dessert. She giggled, the sound making my skin crawl. I've loved him since high school. This is my chance. With her out of the picture, he'll finally notice me at the reunion next month. Are you sure he won't figure out it was you? Her friend asked over speaker. How? I used a VPN to hide my tracks. Plus, I made the messages sound exactly like her. Pretentious, fake nice, gold digger vibes. His family will eat it up. Conservative Christians from Texas meeting a Seattle liberal who's after their money? It's perfect. I recorded everything on my phone, then crept back to my room. Rage burned in my chest, but I pushed it down. Chloe had made 3 critical mistakes. First, she'd used her own laptop initially before remembering to use a VPN. Second, she'd underestimated my security measures. And third, she didn't know I was friends with James's sister through work. We'd planned this family meeting together. I called Sarah Morrison immediately. Julia, it's late. Is everything? Sarah, I'm so sorry to call, but something's happened. Someone hacked my dating profile and sent horrible messages to your entire family, including your grandmother. What? Oh my God, we all just got them. Mom is freaking out. Dad's ready to forbid James from seeing you. Grandma's clutching her pearls literally. It was my stepsister. I have proof. Can you do me a huge favor? Anything. Don't tell them yet. Let me handle this at dinner tomorrow. Trust me? Sarah paused. You know what? Yes, this should be interesting. What do you need me to do? We spent the next hour planning. I forwarded her all the evidence, the IP logs, the security alerts, screenshots of the real messages versus the fakes, and the audio recording of Chloe's confession. Sarah, bless her, was a graphic designer and immediately spotted the Photoshop tells in the fake pictures. This is insane, she said. She really thought this would work? She's been jealous since James and I started dating. They went to high school together, and she's built up this whole fantasy about them being meant to be. James barely remembers her. He mentioned she was weird in high school too, always showing up where he was, trying to insert herself into his friend group. That tracked with what I'd observed. Chloe's obsession had only gotten worse since James and I became official. She'd accidentally shown up at 3 of our dates, always claiming coincidence. She'd friend requested all his friends on social media. She'd even dyed her hair to match mine last month. So what's the plan? Sarah asked. I'm going to give her exactly what she wants. A chance to see James tomorrow. You're inviting her to the dinner? Oh yes. She's about to learn what happens when you try to destroy someone who keeps receipts. The next morning, I woke up early and played my part perfectly. I acted nervous about the dinner, fussing over my outfit and asking my stepmother Rebecca for advice. Chloe watched from the kitchen, dark circles under her eyes from her late-night hacking session. You know, I said casually, James's family is really important to him. This dinner could make or break our relationship. Chloe perked up. Really? That seems like a lot of pressure. It is. That's why I'm so grateful nothing weird has happened. Can you imagine if someone tried to sabotage this? It would be unforgivable. She shifted uncomfortably. Yeah, that would be crazy. Actually, I added, as if just thinking of it, would you want to come? For moral support? I know you and James went to school together. Her eyes lit up. Really? You'd want me there? Of course. We're sisters, right? The word tasted bitter, but I smiled sweetly. Plus, James's family is big on meeting the whole family. It would look good to have you there. Yes, I mean, if you're sure. Absolutely. We'll leave at 5. She practically floated back to her room. I could almost hear her planning how she'd comfort James after his family rejected me, how she'd be there to pick up the pieces, how this was fate bringing them together. 5 o'clock came quickly. I'd chosen my outfit carefully, elegant, conservative, nothing that could be construed as gold digger material. Chloe, on the other hand, had gone all out. She wore a dress I recognized as new, her hair styled professionally, makeup perfect. She looked like she was going to prom, not a family dinner. The drive to James's parents' house was quiet. Chloe kept checking her phone, probably expecting to hear that I'd been disinvited. Instead, we pulled up to a beautiful Victorian home where James was waiting on the porch. Hey, beautiful, he said, kissing me hello. Then, with clearly forced politeness, oh, hi Chloe, I didn't know you were coming. Julia invited me, she said brightly. It's been so long since we caught up. James shot me a confused look, but I squeezed his hand. He knew something was up but trusted me enough to play along. Inside, the Morrison family was gathered in the living room. I could feel the tension immediately, carefully controlled expressions, overly polite greetings. They'd seen those messages. They thought they were meeting a gold-digging, manipulative woman who was corrupting their son. Mom, Dad, everyone, James said, this is Julia, and her stepsister, Chloe. I smiled warmly, shaking hands, making eye contact. Chloe practically vibrated with anticipation, waiting for the confrontation she assumed was coming. It's so wonderful to finally meet you all, I said. James speaks about you constantly, all good things, I promise. Yes, Mrs. Morrison said coolly, we've heard quite a bit about you too, especially recently. There it was, the opening. Actually, I said, reaching into my purse, I'm glad you brought that up. I have something important to share with all of you. I pulled out a folder. Yes, I'd made a physical folder, complete with labeled tabs. Lawyers prepare for everything. Last night, my dating profile was hacked and used to send inappropriate messages to all of you. I want to apologize for what you received and show you exactly what happened. Julia, Chloe interrupted, her voice high with fake concern. What are you talking about? What messages? I smiled at her. Oh, you didn't know? Someone logged into my account at 11:31 p.m. last night and sent terrible things to James's family. Luckily, I have comprehensive security monitoring. I opened the folder and began laying out papers on the coffee table. IP logs, screenshots, timestamps, everything organized and highlighted for easy understanding. The hack originated from IP address 192.168.1.15, which is registered to a laptop belonging to Chloe Martinez. That's you, right, Chloe? All color drained from her face. That's impossible. Someone must have used my laptop. From your bedroom? While you were on the phone with Megan discussing how, and I quote, once they see what a psycho she is, he'll dump her before dessert? I pulled out my phone and played the recording. Chloe's voice filled the room, clear and damning. I've loved him since high school. This is my chance. With her out of the picture, he'll finally notice me at the reunion next month. The Morrison family listened in stunned silence. James looked like he'd been slapped, but I wasn't done. The messages sent were designed to make me look like a gold digger and worse. But look here, I pointed to the printed screenshots. the syntax, the emoji use, the specific phrases. They match Chloe's writing style from her social media posts, not mine. Sarah, playing her part perfectly, leaned forward. And these photos? Photoshopped. Badly, I might add. I laid out the analysis Sarah had done, showing the obvious manipulation points. My face, someone else's body, created using an app that, coincidentally, Chloe has on her phone. Chloe stood up, shaking. This is insane. You're setting me up. Am I? Let's check your phone then. I bet we'll find the original photos you used, the editing app history, maybe even the VPN you thought would hide your tracks but forgot to use initially. She clutched her phone to her chest. You can't prove anything. Actually, Mr. Morrison spoke for the first time, his pastoral voice carrying authority. She's provided substantial proof. This is deeply disturbing, young lady, but I love him, Chloe burst out, tears streaming down her face as she turned to James. I've loved you since junior year. We were meant to be together. She stole you from me. James stood up slowly. Chloe, we barely knew each other in high school. We had maybe 2 classes together. You're not in love with me, you're in love with some fantasy you created. Plus, I added calmly, attempting to destroy someone's relationship through cyber harassment and identity theft isn't love. It's criminal, which is why I'll be filing a police report first thing Monday morning. You can't. She looked around wildly for support. We're family. Sisters don't do this to each other. Sisters don't try to destroy each other's relationships. Sisters don't commit identity theft. Sisters don't, I gestured to the evidence spread across the table, do any of this. Mrs. Morrison stood up, her face sympathetic but firm. I think you should leave. Chloe, James will drive Julia home later. This isn't fair, Chloe wailed. She's manipulating all of you. Can't you see what she's doing? What I see, Grandma Morrison said, speaking for the first time, is a young woman who handled a vicious attack with grace and intelligence, and another young woman who needs serious help. Security footage from their doorbell camera would later show Chloe's dramatic exit, mascara running, stumbling in her 2 high heels, calling an Uber while sobbing into her phone to Megan about how the plan didn't work. Inside, the atmosphere transformed completely. Mrs. Morrison enveloped me in a warm hug. I'm so sorry we doubted you, even for a moment. You had every right to be concerned. I said, those messages were horrible. The way you handled this, Mr. Morrison said, shaking his head in admiration. Collecting evidence, staying calm, facing it head-on, that takes character. She's a lawyer, James said proudly, his arm around me, the best one I know. The rest of the dinner was wonderful. The family that had been prepared to reject me instead embraced me fully. We laughed about Grandma learning to use social media, swapped stories about crazy relatives, and made plans for future gatherings. Sarah pulled me aside before dessert. That was masterful, better than any courtroom drama I've seen. I had a good partner in crime, I said, squeezing her hand. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for protecting my brother from whatever that was. The aftermath was swift and severe. When we got home that night, James insisted on being there for support. We found the house in chaos. Chloe had confessed everything to Rebecca, who was mortified. My father, usually passive, was furious at the violation of trust under his own roof. Chloe was given 30 days to find a new place to live. The police report I filed resulted in a restraining order and mandated therapy. She lost her job when her employer found out about the criminal charges. Turns out, tech companies don't like employees who commit cybercrimes. But the strangest part came 3 months later. I received a letter from Chloe, forwarded through her therapist. Julia, I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but my therapist says I need to make amends. I'm sorry, not just for what I did, but for what I became. You're right, I wasn't in love with James. I was in love with the idea of being saved from my own life by some high school fantasy. Watching you that night, how you handled everything with such control and intelligence, I finally understood why he chose you. It wasn't luck or manipulation. You're genuinely remarkable. I'm getting help, real help, and maybe someday I'll be the kind of person who celebrates other people's happiness instead of trying to destroy it. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know that I finally see what everyone else already knew. You and James are perfect together. Chloe, I showed the letter to James. He read it twice, then pulled me close. Do you think she means it? He asked. Maybe. Therapy can do amazing things, but meaning it and earning forgiveness are different things. You could have destroyed her that night, pressed charges that would have ruined her life. Instead, you gave her a chance to get help. She's 23, I said, old enough to know better, young enough to change. Maybe. 2 years later, James and I were married in the Morrison family backyard. Sarah was my maid of honor. Grandma Morrison read a beautiful passage about love and trust, and the whole family welcomed me officially into their fold. Chloe wasn't invited, of course, but I heard through Rebecca that she was doing better, holding down a job, continuing therapy, even dating someone age-appropriate who didn't remind her of high school. Sometimes I think about that night, the panic of seeing those messages, the sick feeling of betrayal, the careful planning of my response. Chloe had tried to use technology to destroy me, forgetting that technology leaves trails, that evidence can be collected, that receipts can be kept. She'd thought she was playing chess while I was playing checkers. She didn't realize I wasn't playing at all, I was building a legal case. The dating profile she'd hacked has long since been deleted, I didn't need it anymore, but I kept the security monitoring on everything else, not out of paranoia, but out of wisdom, because Chloe taught me something valuable that night. Sometimes the people who claim to love you are the ones plotting your downfall. But she taught me something else too. When someone tries to destroy your life, you don't have to let them. You can collect your evidence, present your case, and let the truth do the destroying for you. At the family dinner meant to end my relationship, I brought receipts. What I left with was so much more: a family who'd seen me at my best under the worst circumstances, a partner who trusted me completely, and the knowledge that I could face any challenge with grace, intelligence, and a well-organized folder of evidence. Chloe thought she was sending me to my execution. Instead, she sent me to my future, and for that, in the strangest way, I'm almost grateful. Almost.